Okay, mums, welcome. Let's be honest. When you're knee deep in nappies, school runs, and everyone else's needs, the idea of starting a side hustle can be quite ridiculous. Anyone else been there? But I want to offer another perspective today. What if your side hustle, isn't about doing more, but actually about becoming more of who you are? So here at Mum with a Side Hustle, we're all about how to make things more joy and less stress. So before you throw in the towel, let's have a chat about why this even matters. So welcome everyone. Welcome Karen, Rita, and Jade. Thank you so much for jumping in the Zoom room with us today. You guys are here with Mum with a Side Hustle if you're tuning in. It's great to have you. If you are watching us live or later on a replay, please just even drop the word replay into the comments so that we knew you were here. And we love feedback. I love hearing what you like about the call, what you would like to hear more of. So yeah, please do leave a comment. So yeah, I've been thinking this week about some bad beliefs I've had in the past and how they limited me when it came to actually having a side hustle. And it really did make a big difference for my life as I've started to overcome some of these. So here's some beliefs. I've got three for us that quietly hold us back. And I'd love to hear your guys' perspectives. So the first one is this: I don't have anything unique to offer. Everyone else is already doing it. Has anyone ever thought that? So this is actually a result of comparison. And I personally think it's a fear of being seen and judged. So, my example of this is that I sometimes feel like I don't want to post particular parts of my life because I don't want people to judge me. For example, I sometimes have felt like I didn't want to post breastfeeding or uh, having a nap with my child on the bed because I know that there are people who feel very passionately about sleep training in a child's bed, and my showing up and doing something that's special and unique to me might offend them or it might get them to judge me. And there are times when I've looked at what other people have done and I've gone, oh, that's kind of interesting. So let's talk about judgment for a second, because I think that I've gained a new perspective recently and it's really helped me. So think about it this way. We all live by a set of values or beliefs, things that we hold precious to us. And the way that we've come up with them is we've made some judgments, we've made some discernments about the world that we live in. We've gained a perspective. Okay. So judgment isn't necessarily good or bad. And this is really helpful to me because I've got quite a lot of Christian influence in my life, and judging is so terrible. And so I've really, really had like a lot of self-condemnation about, Alicia, don't judge them, don't judge them. The problem with that is that it's always led me to a place of confusion because I have to make a choice for myself at some point. Like, I have to decide how I want to live, and it's going to be different from someone else's. So I'm going to have to judge the world. Hope you can hear it not as a bad thing. I'm going to have to judge the world around me and decide what values I want to hold on to. So let's introduce another word: condemnation. Okay, so judging is actually just discerning. It's forming opinions based on what you value. Condemning is actually a shame-based activity. So it assumes the worst and it writes people off. Okay, so think about it this way: you're allowed to observe and decide if something aligns with your values. That's actually a healthy thing to do. But condemning someone because of their values and presuming, like writing them off or saying they're a whole bad person, that becomes quite a problem. And so when we're afraid of people seeing us and seeing our life, I don't think we're so much afraid of judgment. We're actually afraid of condemnation. And I think this can really hold us back from contributing. So, what I want to say to this fear is don't let judgment silence the parts of you that want to contribute. Don't let the fear of judgment, okay? So, your story, your perspective, your way of life is actually going to resonate with someone. And I had two really cool moments this week. I went to a cafe on Sunday with Olive and I bumped into a friend. Uh, Someone who's a little bit older than me, a woman, and she grabbed me and she said, Alicia, I love what you're doing. Don't stop doing it. I can't wait to follow your journey. She obviously read the post about we're going on an adventure. And she just was super encouraging. And I was like, oh, because a lot of people don't comment, but a lot of people are watching. And if I haven't been showing up and sharing, then there's a lot of people who might not be getting, oh, sorry, Pam, might not be getting the the thing that I have uniquely to bring to the world. I had another moment this week. Another friend from high school, actually, hi Pam, she messaged me and she was like, Alicia, I always can't get on your lives, but I put you on the kitchen bench and I listen to the calls afterwards and I really love them. Like I listen to them while I'm doing the dishes. And I was like, oh man, that's so cool. And she shared a whole lot more and actually inspired me to write a post and stuff. But what I loved about it was if I had not shared because I was afraid that I didn't have anything unique to offer, everyone else was already doing it, then I wouldn't be able to bring the unique me into the world. And that's why I think it's really important to get rid of this unhealthy belief that I don't have anything unique to offer. Everyone else is already doing it. There's no one like you. There's no one in the whole world like you. And you have something beautiful and unique to bring. Okay, we'll stop for some discussion soon, but let's just jump into the second limiting belief that I have had and that I know that other mums have had because I've heard from them. So the second limiting belief why I reckon a lot of mums don't want a side hustle or don't get started with one or don't want a personal brand is this. I don't like the idea of hustle culture. Okay, life is already too full and I don't want more stress. So some of that is true. Okay. Hustle culture, not cool. Pressure on yourself, not cool. But I actually think some of this statement lacks vision. Okay. The real issue here isn't the hustle, it's actually the belief that growth equals exhaustion. The only way to grow is being exhausted. Now, I'm growing as a person through having my children. Let me tell you, I have grown a lot. But the growth that I'm getting from doing this side hustle is a different kind of growth, and it's not a stress growth. Okay. And I think that Mum with a Side Hustle has a holistic approach to our life, and consistency has been the message over intensity. Okay. I don't think we have a hustle culture here. I don't think we have a work harder, do more hours culture. I think that we have a how can we do it smarter and how can we do it connected to our passion and to the vision that we have for our life. And so if you haven't picked that up, then maybe I haven't communicated it well. But I think having a big vision for your life actually, a big vision for your life beyond today, it brings you energy and it doesn't drain from you. And I don't know about you guys, but I've seen, if you're looking at the women on this call, some of the posts and some of the business action that you guys have taken, I think that it has energized you rather than taken away from you. That's been my observation. It might have cost you something, and Pam's just finished a massive amount of work. So I'd love to hear from you, Pam, in a minute, specifically about this. And you don't have to agree with me because I always like to hear your perspective. And you've thought about this a lot, haven't you, Pam? Okay, come on, unmute, talk to us. I won't even finish my thought there. I want to hear your thoughts.
Oh, I think some of it comes down to personalities too, and just like
Cool.
natural strengths.
Yeah, definitely.
I think because I've probably got a little bit of the ADHD vibe, I do like the hyper focus thing.
Yeah.
So I tend to have seasons of intensity and then like, yeah, seasons of less intensity. Which is kind of, I guess the 90-day sprint culture is kind of a bit like that. Like you go hardcore for a period of time to just like really focus in on something. I've actually noticed a lot more talk lately around like this whole thing of work-life balance is like irrelevant. You know how it was
Yeah.
such
It
a
was a big
big
deal for a long
theme.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, but nowadays everyone's like, nah, it's a load of crap. And there's a lot of yeah, I've just been seeing more and more posts of more and more influencers sharing that view that like actually you can't have balance and focus. Sometimes you actually just have to have a season of focus and
Yeah.
then like have a season of balance. Um, so I'm not necessarily going against what you're saying because I think consistency and that sort of thing is really important and I wish I was better at it. But I just I think I sort of maybe need to, or it's just the way that I work best is like getting in a zone of hyper focus and where there's a bit of pressure. And for me, like obviously I had people I'm serving that have paid money, so it creates some pressure around it because there's an expectation and I've committed to certain deadlines and things,
Yeah.
which I do find a little bit stressful, but I
Yeah.
think it probably just is more drive rather than stress. I actually had a good discussion with my naturopath about this because I had a diagnosis last year that was like probably due to too much stress, but it wasn't work stress. It was like just baby phase and moving across the country and all that kind of stuff stress.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I was asking her like, what about like with my work stuff and the intensity of it? Do I need to be careful about the whole like bad stress zone? And she
Yeah.
was like, honestly, when you talk about your work, like I can see how life-giving it is for
Wow.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she said, I actually think a bit of pressure around something that you get joy out of and that you love the results and that it excites you is actually probably a healthy thing.
Yeah.
So I thought that was quite interesting. But yeah, I think with social media, probably consistency is important. So I haven't found that yet, though I'm
Yeah.
hoping in this season, now that I'm kind of out of my season of
Yeah.
intensity,
Yeah.
to build a bit more consistency in that space. So watch this space. I'm not sure if I'm going to achieve it or not. We'll soon find out.
I mean, I've definitely not achieved consistency as I would like to. I mean, I have
Oh,
shared with
you're
you
doing
guys.
pretty well.
I have shared with you guys that I've been sick for the last month. Um, and my showing up has changed to like one good post a week, which is consistent, I guess. But I really love Pam. I actually love how you do you. Like you have got this season of passion and this, your idea cooker course. If you're not sure what Pam does, it's a really great way to test out your business idea and make sure that it is going to fly. And Pam's just got so many keys to help you get started with a business that you've created, something that's on your heart. Um, but I love Pam that you've been quite decisive about what you give your energy to when you know that you're going to have this season of intensity. Like you've chosen not to stretch yourself thin and try and do it all. Because I think that's what the hustle culture is. I think hustle culture is do it all. But I don't think that that's what we're going for with Mum with a Side Hustle. I don't think we're going for do it all and be an amazing businesswoman and an amazing mother and wife and like still like dress up like a 1950s, woman. That's not what I'm going for. I'm going for 3 hours a week. It's a little bit more of passion project, like something I love doing. That's my 3 hours I hustle, right? I just give it everything. It's probably more like five. Um, but I give it everything because it just fills me up. When I leave this room after the Zoom call, I bound out of here and I feel like a new woman. And I just give my kids all the joy and my husband. I think they get a good benefit from what happens in this room. So, anyway, what
I
about
think
others?
I'm like that too. Like after a good recording session where I've like got some thoughts down and it's come together well, or like a good live training session. And yeah, those things are real life giving. And I definitely feel like I'm more inspired and fun to be around after doing something like that.
Does hustle mean anything to anyone else? Kieran, is that a word you've thought about, you've disliked?
I guess I don't think about it that much. I know that when I do actually paint, my husband notices how much happier I am.
Yeah,
But
interesting.
yeah, I guess sometimes I shy away from something that is going to be a lot of work. Like
Yeah.
thinking to myself, kind of just trying to figure out, what are my 3-year goals and what do I really want to focus on, and am I actually going to give my all to it? And part of me wants to make a course or write a book or things like that, but I know it's so much work, and I'm finding it hard to actually, make that, set it down in concrete, and actually just, commit to it, I think.
And that's part of the process, I think, because I mean, like I've shared before, when I started Mum with a Side Hustle, there was like a debate, am I going to do this weekly Zoom? The idea came to me about a month before I actually committed to it. And I think that there's times to try out, and then there's times where you have to adjust. You might try out a goal and then realize a month into it, this is just never going to work. I've got to pivot or I've got to change. But let's not start the idea because we don't think it'll never ever work. And we might be sabotaging our dreams because we don't actually let it have a little bit of oxygen, right? Like things need oxygen to grow. And so, yeah, but that's a cool thought. I like this idea. You can move slowly, softly, and still build something that matters. You can move slowly and softly with your personal brand, with your business, with whatever you've got, and still build something that matters. And I think that goes against the culture of today, where everything is fast, furious. I mean, like in network marketing, they say like you've just got to be fast. Speed sells. There's another saying, it's gone out of my head, but it basically is encouraging you to get going fast. You've got to be fast. And as a mum with kids at home who wants to have a side hustle but doesn't want to be stressed, like that is a very stressful statement. So I can disagree with some things and still have a side hustle. Okay, let's jump into number 3 before I give all my why bother having a side hustle points away because I've got 3 why bothers today as well. Okay, here's the third mindset I think people have is I'll do it later. We're in a full on season with kids. And I actually think this is quite a limited mindset. What that is saying, it's a fixed way of thinking. It's a either or. I can either have the full on season with kids or give up my kids and go and get this side hustle going. But that's limited. Yes, a season of having kids is demanding. I'm in it. I'm deep in it. You guys are all deep in it. But like we can lose momentum, we can lose so many things when we limit ourselves and we have this fixed mindset that only one thing is possible. And what if you didn't give it some oxygen? What if you didn't at least try? You might miss out on what the potential could be. And you know what, there's actually no later. Because the next season will have something else that is limiting about it. Everything's going to have responsibility. And that's why it's important to find a way to, one, have a dream and a vision for your life, and two, do something towards it right now. It doesn't even have to be 10 hours a week. Sometimes it might be 1 hour a week. This is my bare minimum. I just need this 1 hour to write my one post. That's what I'm going to achieve in this season of absolute insanity. I'm going to do this because I've got a vision and a dream. So do you guys have like a minimum amount? Have you figured out what the lowest percentile is for you guys? What's the lowest amount that you have committed yourself to? Or if you were to choose one action that you were always going to take, what would that be? It doesn't even have to be like an actual action.
I
Show
think in
up.
the last few weeks, building the brand, my minimum action is just one post a week. And to be honest, that's probably been the only action I've taken a lot of the time. But yeah, I think for me, I find it hard to commit to something because once I'm committed, I'm all in, I just do it. But
Yeah.
I probably need to let myself kind of breathe into things as well and give things a go without having to fully commit to it. And then I'll probably get some things down as well. But yeah, just the one
Yeah,
post is
that's
me at the
so
moment.
cool. And that one post has been so powerful, you know, and it's getting your story, your images out there. It's inspiring people. It's probably enjoyable to you. Is it enjoyable to you to write that post? I mean, it might not come
Yeah,
without some of the struggle.
I do enjoy it because sometimes I don't really think about the story like in a linear way as I share it. I kind of, yeah, I look at a picture and I just go, what could I share about this picture and how doing
Oh, Kieran, your network's a little bit low today and you're cutting out on us. Rita, do you have anything you want to share here, or we're going to pass on you at the moment? Eating peanut butter sandwiches with her kids. It's a very important thing. Jade, I'm curious to know what you mean by show up. I'm going to check the Zoom chat. Did you say anything else that I've missed? What is show up? What's the show up? For me, if I could do nothing else, I would at least think about my business every week. So what is show up for you, Jade? What's that minimum line?
Just either show up in stories. So
Yeah.
either you're sick, just picture of you sick in bed and say I'm sick.
I've avoided all of those pictures. I don't know if you've noticed.
But then I get so, like when I am sick and I
Yeah.
post it, I get so many like people like try this, do this, have you done this?
Oh,
Like
I
when I
haven't
had
thought
real
about
bad
that.
migraines.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I had, but it created lots of people giving me offers of help. It was really nice. Yeah,
Um,
just showing up.
yeah, on your stories.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I just find it easier there.
My showing up is at least thinking about my side hustle. So, like thinking about my posts, or like I often get lots of ideas. And so I try and allow myself to mull on my idea just a little bit longer. You know, when I have a down moment, bring it back to mind and be like, oh, if I was to write a post about that, what would I do? And actually, this week's topic grew out of my friend Emily, who messaged me. She just made a comment. I can't even remember what it was, but it led into this idea of why bother. And then I wrote these 3 reasons why bother. And then I thought, actually, it's not the reasons why bother, it's the limited way I think that stops me from bothering. And that's where all of the ideas came from this week. And I actually became quite passionate about this whole idea. And most of my thinking and planning was actually done away from the computer. I was just excited to get the computer to really refine it and pull it out. But yeah, my minimum is actually just doing thinking, because if I do thinking, it eventually becomes a post. It becomes something. Yeah, I don't know if anyone else can relate to that, the power of thinking.
Yeah, I do. That's probably a lot of where I live, in that zone of probably not for a whole week, because I'm always, but in terms of like something consistently, but probably I think about it just like almost as prayer, because I just
Yes,
invite the Holy Spirit into that place, and often that's kind of what my prayer often looks like, because I don't always get the quiet space that I want to have,
yeah.
but it's like throughout the day. Especially like in the moments in the shower, like boy, some of the shower ideas that I get are just like,
Oh,
wow, this is like incredible. But it's like I feel like when there's a bit of peace, it's just like hearing the voice of God is easy, and it's like it's not like this audible voice moment. It's like in my own mind, and so it's just merging with my own thinking and my own creativity. But it's like, I don't know, quite a beautiful, intimate place with the Lord that is
that's so cool.
it's just like otherwise you could just call it thinking. Like most people would probably call it thinking, but for me, it's like that's how I think about it, because I know that a lot of the ideas and inspiration is from him because my heart's open to his input. Yeah.
And sometimes I will take an idea and I will just like pray that it doesn't go away. I just, because I know that I can't get to it. And sometimes writing it down doesn't even help because I don't even come back to my notes.
Yeah.
Often
Yeah. I
writing
wish
it down is worse because then I've written it down and it goes. Like then I've done something with it and then I don't actually get to use it more. So I sometimes with the best ideas, I just try and keep them in my thinking zone.
Yeah, I don't write mine down enough. I think I lose too many of them due to not writing them down.
I just have so many notes in my phone, new note, where I haven't put my idea down. So yeah, I don't know if that's kind of selling me out on the idea thing.
That's funny.
Oh well, if anyone got a good idea from our little what we each do, what our minimum is, why don't you put it in the chat? Or I would actually see if anyone's watching live. No one, that's all right. Sometimes people will tell me that they've been watching. I can see one watcher. You should comment so we know that you're there. But if you don't want to, it's all right. We'll let it go. Okay, so I've got three reasons why bother with a side hustle, why bother with a personal brand. So we finished our 8-week challenge, our second one, and I think I've got an inkling that we're going to stick around on why bother for a little while, but I want it to connect with personal brand because I want us to keep talking and keep working on our personal brands. So the first one is, and we've already heard this from everyone here, a side hustle gives you a creative outlet and a personal brand gives it a voice. So your side hustle lets you use your creativity, skills, or story to serve others, and your personal brand helps people connect to why you do it and not just what you do. Why you do it and not just what you do. So your brand is built through your voice, your values, your real life moments, the stuff that makes you you. And I just love, this has been one of my biggest things. These are all my reasons to why bother, okay? Because I love having a creative outlet, and that creative outlet has become an absolute joy for me. And like I said, I bound out of this room and I love my children more. But I just want us to think about this for a second. What do I want people to feel when they see my posts or hear my story? And for me, it's two things. Like I've always wanted to encourage others, and I think the other part is inspire. So I want mums out there to see that it doesn't have to be stressful to have a side hustle. It doesn't have to be a horrible thing that you had to do so you could stay home. If that's what you're choosing, right? Like a lot of us are choosing to have side hustles so that we can stay home with our kids or stay home more with our kids. But it doesn't have to be like this horrible thing. It actually, I think it can be a passion project. I think it can be this thing that inspires you and actually gives life to you. Pam, you are totally accredited to the line that gives you joy and not stress. That was something Pam said when I did the Idea Cooker course. It is brilliant and I've kept it because it does define the reason why I'm showing up. I want to show up for joy and not for stress. I'm just looking at how cute Rita's little girl's hair is. It's very sweet the way she's done it. So yeah, what about you guys? What do you want people to feel, or when they see your posts, or what do you want them or hear your story? What is it that you want them to get from that? Would anyone be willing to share? Kieran's going to give it a try again.
Oh, I was just trying to start my video again, but I don't even know if it'll work. It's been really bad today. Is it coming
That's all
through?
right. Yeah, we've got you for a few seconds there.
Oh, yeah. I can't remember the question. Sorry.
What do you want people to feel when they see your posts or hear your story?
I want people to feel like when they see my posts and see my art, I want them to just think of like the beauty of God and creation. And a lot of people comment that they just feel peace. And, like if I can spread a bit of peace into people's hearts and minds and lives, then that brings me amazing, joy. yeah.
It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Pam, when you share about the Dream Academy, which you have a few times, what do you want people to feel, or what do you want them to hear about your story?
I was just going to say, Kieran, I loved reading the one with the horses. I was a horse lover as a kid too, teenager, and definitely just even reading it was like bringing memories back for me. And, those even just the beautiful moments of like connecting with a horse. And, when we are so far like in a context where you can't do something like that, to be able to read a story someone's written and then almost have like an experience of it, when you're not actually there is quite special. So I enjoyed that. So thank you for the way you've been sharing. It's been really beautiful.
Oh, thank you. It's so nice to hear.
Yeah,
That's
for me, I
awesome.
think I'm similar to you, Alicia, probably inspired and challenged, I would say, probably two of the main things I want
Cool.
people to feel and what I want them to take away. Yeah, so
That's
somewhat
so
from personal stories, and we want to share lots of like testimonies and just things that are happening with our ministry / business dream. So yeah, just wanting people to hear those stories and feel inspired and encouraged about what's happening in the world, and where, just the hope that there is. I think probably hope is another one. Yeah, because it's so easy to look at all the bad that's going on, and but yeah, to actually see the bad and then decide, hey, we actually are carriers of the light and let's address it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to inspire people into that same sort of action. So yeah,
It's so
hopefully they feel
beautiful.
hope and inspiration and challenged, and yeah.
We're just being shown a beautiful necklace here. We've got to acknowledge it. That is so pretty. I wonder if you've made it yourself, darling. Well done. It's beautiful.
I did some of that
Okay.
with Lily this morning, jewellery making. It was fun.
Oh, I'm sure Tate would love it, even though he's a boy. He always wants to be beautiful and look like his mum. He's already told me he wants to marry me, and I've tried to explain that I'm already married to his dad. It doesn't qualify. He doesn't understand why. But why, mum? Why?
Yeah, so sweet.
So let's go to number 2. So the reason I think that it's worth having a side hustle and a personal brand is a side hustle is something that looks to the future, and a personal brand is actually part of building a legacy. And we've talked about this before. Personal brand is not a quick thing. It is something that you build over time. Cadence made it at kindy. Oh, that's so beautiful. Takes a few years to grow out of wanting to marry you, Kieran. Is that right? Is it just our boys? Probably is just our boys.
No,
No?
Lily talks about marrying Daddy all the time.
Oh, that's so sweet. Well, she didn't want to marry you, so.
Yeah, it's completely normal. I think probably every kid, if they've got a nice parent,
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
completely
Sweet
normal.
child.
Cadence
So
wants
sweet.
to marry the au pair. Oh, and the au pair had to leave. That's so sad. Okay, so a side hustle looks to the future and a personal brand builds legacy. So we all know that our motherhood is for a season, and a side hustle helps us remember that we're more than just lunch boxes and laundry, right? And our personal brand, that is giving our work meaning that lasts. There's going to be a record of what we've done. And I think that's beautiful. Our personal brand and our side hustle is actually the door to future opportunities. It's the door to coaching, collaborations, new income streams. Because when people know your heart, they want you, not just your products. And I think us investing in a personal brand right now, in the small, soft ways that we can, is actually building something for our future. And I think it's completely doable in whatever way you can in your season. And I think it's part of keeping the vision alive, like, why am I doing this? What do I want? What do I want my life to look like in the future? I wrote a post about this yesterday. If you saw it, put your hand up. It probably doesn't express everything I want to say, but one part of the post, I just felt like, like people say to me all the time, enjoy it because this season will be over really soon, like your season of small kids. And And I love that. And I do try my best to enjoy it. And I do enjoy it. Like there's times of trying and there's times of enjoying. But that doesn't mean that I should ignore everything else in my life until it's over. Like if I did that, I would have crap mental health. I'd be like really fat and overweight. I would have a terrible marriage and I'd probably have no financial plan for the future. And then I'd be like 45 or 47 and I'd be starting again. And I think there is something I can do right now for my marriage, for my weight, for my health, for my future. And it is partly this, partly it's having a personal brand and showing up consistently. You might choose something else. For me, this is what I'm choosing. I also choose to exercise. I also choose to give time to my marriage. I also choose to work on my mental health and my thinking. But for me, a side hustle is actually action steps towards my vision. And I think maybe this might be a challenge that I want to offer to some mums, that you can have small things right now that get you towards your vision. You don't have to stop, and it doesn't have to look like somebody else. And it might go on pause, right? You might have a brand new baby, or you might be like Pam and go intense for some time and then dial it back. Like it's okay, but you're still moving, you're still stepping, and you are, if you need a reason, the reason is think long term. Don't think about right now, think long term. Think about the vision you have for your life. At least take some step today, at least take some step this week, and you will next week take one step, and next week take one step, and eventually all of these things combined will take you to a new place. And I'm saying this out of my own experience. I've been taking one step and one step and one step, and I'm still here and I'm still showing up, and it's something is happening. People are grabbing me at cafes and saying, Alicia, I love what you're doing. Please keep doing it. That's right. They compound, Jade. They compound. I just feel like every time, I'm not asking you guys to encourage me, but every time someone randomly grabs me and encourages me or sends me a voice message or tells me something, I honestly feel like it's all of heaven cheering me on. Hashtag famous. I know, it's a little bit weird. The same thing used to happen when I was a worship leader, though. So I think it's just people are inspired by your bold, courageous action. And that's what you're doing with a personal brand. You are inspiring and like giving people courage, and you're setting people up. So yeah. What about you guys? What is the bigger picture that you're building towards? Yeah, do you guys have a vision? Jade needs to put it in the chat. I know she has a big vision. Freedom. I love how you just said like one word, Jade. Freedom. And Jade is so amazing. She has her vision boards. Oh, I'd love to hear you talk in a second, Jade. I don't know if it's possible. Are you putting the baby to sleep? Anyone else? Anyone else want to say what is the big picture that you're building towards? Pam, I've got a clue. I know she's disappeared with the baby. Pam's big vision, part of it is setting their family up so they can go back to Uganda, and then having the academy so when they are living there, they can actually equip and inspire people who want to start businesses and change their world, change their life, change their families' lives. Karen, have you got anything you want to share about your bigger vision?
Okay, yeah. So one of my big visions is I just want to paint the paintings that are in my heart and just get them out into the world. Probably online so people can purchase prints wherever they are in the world. And then from there, I want to probably write a book kind of like inspiring Christian creatives to get those paintings out of their hearts and into the world as well, just to kind of change the world one painting at a time.
Yeah.
And I also am working on an idea for like a coloring book. You know how people love to color,
Yeah.
and maybe they want to meditate on the word of God. So I'm working on that so that I can do really beautiful pictures that people can color in easily, but has like scriptures and things like that with it. Because there's just not that much of that around, and there needs to be way more. So yeah, that's my dream.
Wow, I just love hearing your dream. I love hearing your dream. I love hearing you show up. This is a question for you. This is like you don't have to answer it. How can you tell that story now, not later? So that's a question for you to just think about in your mind. How can I tell the story of my bigger vision like to inspire others to paint the pictures and draw the pictures that are in their heart, that are inside of them. They've been, I mean, you've been carrying these for like 20 years, right?
Probably some of them.
Yeah.
Some of them are really hard paintings, and I'm like, how am I ever going to get that on canvas? Because it's kind of, yeah, complicated paintings.
When I hear you say that, I just feel it. Like I feel what you're saying. I feel the beauty of what it will be like when Kieran has these pictures that are inside her expressed in the world in some way. Yeah. Oh, I love it. I'm so excited. Jade said in the comments you need to do it on a Facebook Live.
Oh man, that's one thing I've never done.
Why don't you start with a reel? Why don't you start with a reel and tell your story through a reel? I tried this last night. Jade, you are good at this. Jade, I'm just singing your praises today. I was going to send you my reel and ask for feedback, but I just wanted to post it. So I'll ask for feedback even though it's already posted. If you could please look at my latest reel, I would love your feedback on it because you are such a great storyteller. I love the way you tell stories.
So the reel, is it like video? Do you video yourself and then share it on a reel?
You can. So that's called what's it called? Like a head something? Can anyone remember what that's called? There's like a word for it where you video yourself talking.
Talking head video.
Talking head, that's it. So you can do a talking head video where you literally film yourself talking about what you just said. You could also ask me for a clip from this call because you just said it and I can just screen clip what you just shared.
Ooh, that's pretty cool.
Or you can montage, that's a nice word, a series of pictures from either your life or your images and add little lines on top of it. This is a reel where it says like something along the lines of like, my vision and dream is that I would paint the stories of my heart and inspire you to paint yours, for example. And so you could just use like little one-liners across a series of photos to tell a story. Jade does a really good job of this, so go have a look at some of her reels. She tells their story so succinctly and beautifully. Okay, let's go. Number 3, we're almost there. It's 10 to 2. We did start a little bit late. This is the third reason I believe that you should have a side hustle or a personal brand. I think this is why bother. This is why bother having it. Number 3, a side hustle. This is my favorite one. A side hustle can inspire your kids, and a personal brand shows them how. And I just want to quickly read you. I should have prepared it, but it just came to me just then. One line in the post that I did yesterday, late last night, because I just wanted to get it out. It was burning inside of me. I'm going to read you this one line. Where is it? Okay. Will I be someone my kids look at and think, wow, mum kept going for her dreams, even in the middle of the mess? And that is one of my biggest why bother reasons, is that I can inspire my children to go after their dreams, no matter how tough the season and no matter what stands in their way. They can work towards them every day in a small way. It is possible. And a personal brand, when you're doing a personal brand as well as a side hustle, it actually shows them how you did it. Like it's the story of how you managed to do this business and build you, and how did you do it along the way, so they have a record of it. Back in the day, we would leave our diaries for our children or our Bibles, or we would tell stories about each other's lives. Well, one day the story of my life will be on the internet. Here we go, Tate. Why bother? Because I did it for you. I wanted to show you that you could rise, that you could have courage, that you could pursue your dreams, that you could paint the pictures from your heart. So your kids are going to see you working, and they might see you on your phone. But you need to teach them why you're doing it. You need to tell them what that means. Why are you doing that? And as you show up and you build your personal brand, you're showing up as yourself, you're sharing your stories, you're being vulnerable, and you're standing for something. And it teaches your children not just how to sell, but that's an important skill, but how to be seen, how to lead, and how to share their own story too. And here's a really important question, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. If your kids could take one thing from watching you build your side hustle, what would it be? If your kids could take one thing from watching you build your side hustle, what would it be? Kieran's going to go first. I can feel it.
Oh, thanks. I was just thinking, I don't know, with the word persistence came to mind. So I'm hoping that, he says that you persist even when things are difficult and when you can't be bothered showing up and you do it anyway.
That's so cool. That's so good. I want to know whose birthday it's been at Pam's house. Okay, Jade says that they can do it too. Yeah, that's right. They can do it too. Rita, are you going to, did you hear our question? You only just came in the room. But I'll tell it to you again because I would love to hear what you think. If your kids could take one thing from watching you build your side hustle, what would you want it to be?
That's really hard. Just, I guess, they keep going, and
Yeah,
eventually you'll
cool.
get there.
Yeah, I love it. Pam, if your kids could take one thing from watching you build your side hustle, what would you want it to be?
Well, I mean, for us, we're not really building a side hustle. We're building like our dream
Oh, okay.
for
So
like
what
the
would you want them,
future.
what would
So,
you
I
want them
mean,
to take?
honestly, everything, like, we don't even want to send them to school. We actually just want them to come alongside what we're doing and learn from that because we're training people to dream for their nation and how to implement their dreams. And it's like, we don't want our kids to have to go and learn normal stuff at school. Like our dreams for our kids are that like they would get inspired by the needs and things that they see around them. Or it doesn't even have to be needs, but just like ideas from heaven. Maybe it's new technologies, maybe it's like, I don't know, people's lives they want to touch through something creative or whatever it might be. But just to have the freedom to actually explore and express who they are and learn how to, I don't know, it's not even about the monetization. I feel like God's going to give us so many different ways of monetizing things in the future that it's not even going to be about how to make money. But I think more about like how to bring life and expression to your dreams. And when I talk about dreams, I think quite differently about it because I think dreams become quite shallow when it's just about you and like, oh, I want to live in a nice house and I want my kids to be, well educated. And, like those dreams get pretty boring once, you've kind of ticked all of the basic sort of boxes. It's like now that you're there, now what was the point of all of that, And a lot of rich people completely lose purpose and meaning because that's all they've aimed for. And then it's like, now that we're here, now what? Like, what was the point of all of that? And I think it's like actually what like real legacy and what really inspires is the things that actually are going to touch the lives of, hundreds or thousands of other people. And so I guess just like raising kids that dream at that level of like how to impact people's lives and do something that, is just like the ultimate thrill of a lifetime. So I think we think quite differently about this whole space because we don't even want our kids getting into the education system because of the small thinking, we don't want them exposed to like stuff that an education system that was designed to maybe serve people well 50 or more years ago. It doesn't really do that anymore. So anyways,
I love that,
I'm a little bit
Pam.
out there.
I'm going to screen clip your story too and send it to you. That is so beautiful. And I think it's so inspiring as well to hear. I really resonate with what you're saying, and about legacy and about dreams that go further than just our lifetime. Yeah, but it's a
And just
learned
our
thing.
family,
Yeah, it's so exciting. Yeah. Oh, thank you for sharing. I had a story to share with you guys, but I'm going to wrap up and I'll save my story for another week. This has been such a beautiful, rich conversation. I'd love to hear maybe at the chat or in our chat group later, like what's one thing you wanted to take away from today's call, or one thing that was relevant to you. And if you are watching us live, then I would love to hear that you were here in the chat. It's always nice to just see that someone was here. Oh, we've got some comments. They were a little while ago though. Melody was commenting. Motherhood lasts with different seasons. Cool. At 64, it is a different season, watching, loving, and trusting how they were raised. God will work out. Yeah, that's true. Motherhood doesn't stop. It's just the season of motherhood that we're in right now. So here's a question for you as we close. What's one part of your personality, passion, or past experience that could become part of your personal brand, not just your business offer? Because I just think people connect with people. We've talked about this so many times. People connect with people. They don't connect the same way with a brand. Okay. Well, mums, your side hustle doesn't have to be big to be meaningful. It's not about doing more. It's about making space for the parts of you that deserve to be seen, used, and shared. And it's about, love what you just said, Pam, it's about legacy. It's about impact. It's about that you have a story and something beautiful that you've worked on inside of you that actually is going to bless and help someone else. So you're not just supporting your family through doing this, you're actually building a story, a rhythm, and a legacy that includes you. And let's begin here. Let's build with heart and let's do it together. Bless you guys. It's been so great to be with you. I am always grateful for your contributions every week. And we will see you in the chat, and we will see you live, same place, same time next week. Bye, everyone.